Like, how could you do this to me when I've done so much for you? Like, how?
Am I sending Mina into a hornet's nest by meeting my daughter Jordan? Probably. Is this a bad idea?
It's a very bad idea.
We are here to spend some time with our girlfriend.
¿Tú eres su novia?
Sí, de los dos.
Yes.
From terrible, yes, terrible ideas to cancelled weddings and triple the problems. Things are about to get very messy. Now, before I begin, and this has always blown my mind a bit, like YouTube tells me that 70% of people watching this right now are regular viewers but haven't yet subscribed. Can I ask a quick favour? If that's you, the simple free way to show your support is just to hit that subscribe button. Now, let's dive in. So, the last we saw Mark and Mina, she was calling Mark's daughter Jordan a snake, a hypocrite, and her enemy. And after kicking Mark out of his own bed, when we joined Mina the next morning, she's still in a terrible mood.
I'm so pissed at Mark for my conversation for the last night. Je n'ai pas senti le soutien de Mark. Je me suis sentie seule.
Mina feels like she's left everything behind, including her own son, back in Paris, in order to move to New Hampshire, only for Mark's family to hate her. Now, Mark tries to reassure her that that's not the case. This is all a big misunderstanding. Give it time, he says. I assure you this will all work itself out. But, he says, in the meantime, in order to help you settle in order to make you feel less alone, I've organised a get-together of all of our neighbours from this private community that we live in. I want them to meet you, he says. I want you to get to know all of them, to begin to make some friends. And boy, are they an interesting group.
Donc, je n'ai pas rencontré quelqu'un qui a moins de 50, de 60 ans ici. Et Marc, c'est le plus jeune.
Now, everyone seems nice enough, especially Martini Pat. She's a vibe, but it's very clear that Mina doesn't have a whole lot in common with any of them. Mina, by some distance, is the youngest there. She's also the only one who's a mother to a young child. And she begins questioning aloud, like, what am I going to do here?
In Paris, I have time, I take stroller, I go walk, and now here, no place for stroller.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Wait, I have a stroller for my dogs.
I mean, it might not be what she envisaged, but at least she has a friend to walk with. You should also consider getting a dog, or maybe, like I do, maybe you should start doing crochet, Pat says to her, unironically says to her, which is hilarious given what Mina said about crochet.
I don't need a dog, I don't need the garden, I don't need a crochet.
What she does need, however, is someone that she can vent to, especially after what happened last night. You guys all know Mark's daughter Jordan, don't you? Says Mina. You'll never believe what she's been saying to my fiancé. She doesn't want us to have another baby. Can you believe that? Asks Mina. Only the response she gets back isn't quite what she was hoping for.
Jordan and Mark have been a unit. They've been close. He has to keep her happy.
It's my decision, not Jordan's decision.
Right. It's my decision. Jordan shouldn't be in her dad's ear trying to influence him. It shouldn't be up to her whether or not we want another child, Mina says. And while it's hard to argue with that, while the women agree with what she's said, they also know Mark and Jordan. They know how difficult it's going to be for Mark to take a stand in favour of his wife. As we've been told a few times already, Mark is a people pleaser. He wants to keep everyone happy. But this is a scenario where that's just not going to be possible.
Mark wants everybody to win, and only one person wins.
Maybe I made a mistake to coming here to living with Mark in America.
Someone's going to have to lose, but the question is, will it be Mina or is it going to be Jordan? Now, while the tension is bubbling away under the surface, Mark puts in a little bit of extra special effort to try and put back a smile on Mina's face. And when we join them the next morning, he appears to have done a good job. He's succeeded in his mission and he doesn't care who knows it.
We had some good sex last night, I mean, right?
Your mommy wants you.
I don't care. She knows she's an adult, right?
Nice job.
So with both of them now in better spirits, at least for the time being, Mark again tries to take the opportunity to show Mina around. He mistakenly thinks that she likes hiking, which she doesn't, but he takes her on a hike anyway. And with little Maria on Mark's back, with the snacks ready and the picnic site already picked out, the hike goes quite well. That is until things quickly turn serious again.
I'm still a little worried about, Jordan and you.
Mm-hmm.
Given Mina's extreme reaction in the hot tub, yeah, I'd say it's right that he should be worried. I want you guys to get along, Mark says. Just think of the wedding. We don't want any drama on our big day, do we? We don't want anything to overshadow our happiness. No, you're right, says Mina. You're absolutely right, we don't. And you know what? I have the perfect solution for how we can guarantee that's the case.
It's possible she don't coming?
No, it's not possible. She's not coming. She's coming for the wedding. She's my daughter, baby. It's better if we just talk to her and you get to know her.
Mina's suggestion, Mina not wanting his daughter to come to his wedding, horrifies Mark. That just isn't going to happen, Mark says. I want my daughter there. In fact, I need you and her to speak to each other. You guys have to squash this. You need to sort out whatever it is that's going on between the two of you. And reluctantly, Mina agrees. I'll try one last time, Mina says. And while you'd be hoping that that's good news, Mark doesn't seem so sure.
Am I sending Mina into a hornet's nest by meeting my daughter Jordan? Probably. Is this a bad idea? Probably.
He knows this is a terrible idea, but what other option does he have? They need to at least try. He doesn't want to get married without some kind of resolution between the two most important women in his life. But, and it is a big but, his gut instinct, every fibre of his being, is screaming, this isn't gonna go well.
Now we're gonna meet face to face, Mina and Jordan, and hope everyone comes back in one piece.
I, for one, can't wait for this meeting to take place. They've been teasing it for weeks now. Now, another couple who are excited to meet someone face to face, is Matt and Amani.
Let's go find her.
We're at the Day of the Dead Festival to meet up with Ani. We haven't seen her for 6 weeks now, and that's just too long. We can't wait to see her.
Now, Matt and Amani's mutual Mexican girlfriend, Annie, is also dressed up and super excited to see them. And when they do finally find each other in and amongst the crowd of people with masks on, sparks instantly fly. It's a joyful, deep felt reunion for all of them.
We don't really get to see each other that much because of our families and jobs, but when we hug and kiss, if feeling together again, it never stopped.
Now, whether it's production that puts them up to it, or maybe it's a camera crew following them around that sparks a lot of interest, the throuple begin talking to another couple in the crowd. They start taking photos together, and before long, conversation turns to why they're there. What brings you to Mexico? What brings you to the Day of the Dead festival? The couple innocently ask.
We are here to spend some time with our girlfriend.
¿Tú eres su novia?
Sí, de los dos.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that is a pretty shocking or at least very unexpected response to get back, isn't it? Now, they tell us this is very common. Whenever anyone hears that we're in a throuple, their first thoughts are always sexual. But with us, they say that's not the only case. We're here to build a life together. We're here to blend our families together. This isn't just about what goes on in the bedroom, they say. Although, hang on to that thought. We're going to come back to that in a second. They want us to know just how difficult this is for all of them. Why does it have to be so hard, they ask.
You're constantly choosing between your kids and then the person that you love, and you just want to stop choosing.
So with Annie having kids and also Matt and Amani having kids, any move to America is going to be a big change for everyone. It adds a level of complexity to the equation. Now, their hope is that by them all spending time together, including the kids, it's going to make those choices easier. But, they say as they head back into their hotel room and all jump in the bed together, in fact, Amani gifts Annie some lingerie, For now, all we want to do is have some fun. It's funny, isn't it? Because for all their talk about it not just being sexual, they're falling right into the stereotype here.
Oh, it feels good to be back.
Oh my gosh, it's warm.
It's gonna be interesting to see what this dynamic is really like. I get the impression there is a lot of this that's built on sex. Is it gonna be more people, more problems? Is there gonna be jealousy that comes into the mix? Like, it remains to be seen. But for as united as they are at the moment, unfortunately, the same can't be said for Shawn and Alliya. Now, as I'm sure you recall, we first met this couple on Love in Paradise. But when we joined them in this episode, their first appearance on 90 Day Fiancé Season 11, we're actually treated to a flash forward. We begin at what seems to be the end.
How could you do this to me when I've done so much for you? Like, how?
Something very big has gone down. Or should I say, not gone down. From the way they're talking, and this we're told is the day after their wedding, it feels like Alliya may have had cold feet. She may have left Shawn at the altar. So after planning their future for so long, how or why would she do that?
I don't know, I think I was like frozen inside and I was just feeling lost. I don't know what was happening.
Not having it.
So is this the end for this couple? Well, it certainly seems like a very interesting way to start their season. And the rest of the episode takes us back 3 months prior. We rejoin them at the start of their 90-day journey as Alliya is trying on wedding dresses. She looks excited. But for Shawn, well, he seems to have some reservations. He's had them all along. He seems to be having some difficulties with adjusting to how things have changed.
Alliya and I applied, well, Douglas and I have applied for the K1 visa, but now everything's a different playing field. There is no more Douglas.
I was ready to marry Douglas. I fell in love with and proposed to Douglas. But Douglas became Alliya. That person I fell in love with died, his words.
And that person died.
And now, he says, we have 90 days to figure this all out. Like, he sounds very unsure, which is interesting considering it's Alliya that seems to have stood him up at the altar. Perhaps she realised how unsure he was, but either way, the visa process waits for no one. They have applied for a K1 visa, and now it's time for them to go through with the interview process. But, Shawn tells us, we're quite nervous about this. Why? Well, for the very reason that when they applied for the visa, the name on the application was Douglas, and now Douglas is Alliya. I'm very concerned that the interviewer might instantly discriminate based on the fact that Alliya is trans, Shawn tells us. Now, back in Brazil, Alliya, who's spending the day with her best friend, also has the same worry.
And now that I'm Alliya, I feel very insecure in how people will react to that.
The interview is tomorrow, right? And Alliya is now questioning how she should dress for the interview. Should I go as Alliya? Should I be wearing female attire? Or should I go back to wearing what Douglas would wear? Now, keep in mind, Shawn and Alliya have exhausted every other kind of application to get Alliya to the States. They've all been rejected. The K1 visa is their very last hope. If this also gets rejected, that's it. That's the end of their relationship. So with those worries playing on her mind, Alliya now faces a tough choice.
When I transitioned to Alliya, I promised myself that I never go back to the past. But I also don't want to hurt my chance with Shawn.
Now, for as riddled with doubt as she is, for as difficult as this decision appears to be for her, when we join her the next morning, the morning of the interview, she has made her choice. She will be going as Alliya. And if that means she's going to be discriminated against, well, then so be it. She'll deal with those consequences later on. The most important thing for me, the promise that I made to myself, she tells us, is that forevermore, I am going to be authentic to myself. But that doesn't give Shawn much reassurance.
When Alliya shows up at the interview and they're expecting a Douglas, if the interviewer is transphobic, that could be the end of our journey right then and there.
Now, we know how this ends, right? We know that she was granted the visa because we're shown the flash forward of the wedding day. And yet, for as big as this challenge in the moment appears to be for them, little do they know they've got much, much larger challenges waiting around the corner. It's gonna be interesting to see how exactly this all played out. What went wrong? What caused Alliya to seemingly back out of the marriage?